afternoon, South Africa. Lovely to be back. Welcome to Afternoon Express. I'm Bonang Mateba. We are live, and this is SABC3. Thank you so much for joining us.
Welcome indeed. I'm Bonnie Booley. Today is Motivational Monday, and specifically today, laughter is our medicine. And we've got two of South Africa's funniest men joining us in the loft today. First of whom is John Vlismas. He's been around for years, so he's got a good story to tell.
I can't wait, so make sure that you sit back and relax, because that is going to be really funny. But today also marks the very first day of National Nutrition Week, and this year, as you know, the initiative wishes to raise awareness around healthy eating in the workplace. Are you eating healthy? You need to start asking yourselves all those questions. We do have an expert in the lot who's going to be giving us tips on how we can make sure that our scuffteen is a little, healthier to eat. But we are live. Make sure that you interact with us at Afternoon Chat on Twitter and use our official hashtag Afternoon Express.
And speaking of scuffteens, our gentleman of the house is in the kitchen.
Yes, hello ladies and hello South Africa. Welcome to Afternoon Express. My name is Danilo Acquistos. I'm standing by with one of the also really funny men who's part of Mass Hysteria, which is performing at the moment, Poor Pops.
How are you doing,
Not
sir?
only can you make funny jokes, you can dance too. We see
Yes,
you.
I was a phenomenal dancer, except my partner was this big. I was but we got through.
Any other hidden talents that you have? Can you cook?
I'm an underwear model as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, at home.
Right.
Do you know what a scuffteen is?
No.
Okay, I thought so.
Yes, this is why I didn't respond to that. This is exactly why. So we're going to find out if your cooking skills are any good later on. I'm sure we will. But Claire, we're making some delicious food in the kitchen today. Again, one of my most favorite ingredients, Sriracha.
Yes, indeed.
Why are you laughing so hard?
Because I saw panic in his face that he's going to actually have to come cook. Maybe we should throw him in the kitchen with us.
Actually, like, cook.
Yeah.
He thought he was trying to talk about his comedy. He thought it was about him. Little does he know.
Yes, so listen carefully. Sriracha and sweet potatoes roasted together, and we're going to pair that with a caramelized Sriracha chicken. But it's all about the sweet potatoes and Sriracha today.
Lovely. Looking forward to it. So you can get this recipe on our website, afternoonexpress.co.za. But don't forget, South Africa, if you want to win some amazing prizes courtesy of Afternoon Express, you're going to have to stay tuned, because we are giving away tickets to Mass Hysteria right here, live on the show today. And it's only happening during Afternoon Express today. So there are many ways to get hold of us on the show besides our website and our number 0839133728. You can find us on Facebook, Afternoon Express. You can find us on Twitter at Afternoon Chat using that hashtag Afternoon Express. We're on Instagram too. But the show must get going, mustn't it? Bonang is standing by with John Vlismas.
Thank you so much, Danilo. It's going to be a laugh a minute, so make sure that you're relaxing at home and watching with us for the next hour. But our first guest was born in Zimbabwe. His family moved to Durban when he was only 8 years old. He's a man who has always operated on the fringe of the social norm, has built an incredibly successful career as a comedian through his unique perspective on the world. Joining us on the couch is none other than John Vlismas.
How lovely to be here with you on this lovely couch. And this, I love what you've done with the place. It's
I know.
So lovely.
I had my interior designer come in. It's quite snazzy.
So low-key as well. No one's watching. It's fantastic.
It's just
I think
you
it's
and
nice
I, so
work.
I can
It's
ask you
just the two of us.
absolutely anything.
Anything you like.
Let me tell you something. So I Google you, right? And the words outspoken come up, controversial, risky,
I don't belong on television is what you're telling me.
But I'm going to ask you, would you describe yourself as offensive and risky and someone that doesn't belong on television?
No, only to stupid people. People who are offended are generally quite stupid. So I don't see being offended as a crime.
Okay.
I think getting killed or getting hurt or getting injured, that's horrible.
That's very horrible.
People say, like, I'm so offended. Well, okay, well, who cares? Like, is there a, do you want to report that to the Constitution, or do you want to call the cops? Or what's the problem? You're just offended. It's not the end of the world.
So I'm not a stupid person. I'm asking you, how would you describe yourself?
I'm a reader. I like to be, educated. I like to know what's going on in the world. I think if you're paying attention, there's something offensive happening all the time. I'm sure the fact that I'm alive as a white male is offensive to some people.
Really? Like who?
Well, I don't know. People who are against white males. There must be someone out there. Steve Hofmeyer finds me offensive.
Okay.
He feels that I'm offensive. So it's not my fault. I met him once in a bookstore.
How was he?
Well, I made a mistake. I thought because he was in a bookstore that he could read.
Did he punch you in your face?
No, but he shoved a script in my face at the roast, which was quite fun. That was his protest, was he tried to make me eat my words. It's very literal, but it didn't really work out.
But talking about the world, right? You're quite a global person. You were born in Zimbabwe. You grew up in Durban.
Because I'm a strong swimmer.
Yeah, I mean, everybody that lives in Durban is a strong swimmer.
And if you come from Zimbabwe, you've got to swim. If you haven't got
is that
papers,
how you got here?
absolutely.
We need to
that's
deport
how you
you.
get
And, and a place called The Bluff. And apparently The Bluff is very rough. How was it growing up there?
I didn't grow up on the Bluff. good research. I grew up away from the bluff on the
Even
Berea.
better.
Yeah,
So
on
how
the
was it
Berea. But
growing
we
up in
looked
the
at the bluff
periphery?
from across the water. We looked across the harbour mouth at the bluff, and it was a rough place. And in fact, a man who came from there, he had a political campaign, I'm not joking, that said, if it's not white, it's not right. He was killed later when his car collided with a rhinoceros, and it was a white rhino. So that was a bit of irony and life becoming art. So I thought that was quite fun when a white supremacist is killed by a white rhinoceros.
And talking about art, right? We're going to talk about mass hysteria in a couple of seconds.
Let's do
but
that.
Your new material is based around, how you think South Africans always point the finger and don't usually take responsibility.
Exactly.
What led to that conclusion,
Because
John?
I'm bored of, do we have to talk about Nkandla one more time? Do we have to talk about corruption? Like,
What
it's
else is
become
there to
so.
talk about?
Well, there are other things, but also we keep looking at like governments as if they're going to change something. Where in the world have governments ever fixed anything? That's the first thing. And secondly, are we good South Africans? Like, could you honestly say you're a good South African? Can I? I don't know if I
But I
am.
haven't killed anybody.
Okay, but like that's a really low bar, right, for a good citizen. Like I've never murdered anyone. That's not the ideal, that's not how we set the bar.
Okay.
So the thing is, are we going to fix the country, or are we going to expect other people to fix the country? Because when you vote for someone, they very seldom fix anything, and that's global. That's not a South African thing. It's not an African thing. It's a global thing.
Alright.
We used to love things like FIFA, Volkswagen. Those things were all wonderful. Now they're all terrible.
They're all terrible. So what is your new material all about? When we come see you at Mass Hysteria, what are you focusing on? Because you're big on politicians, you're big on the things that are happening
but I'm
in the
analysing
world.
my own life. So I was raised in South Africa in the 80s, so I am essentially a psychopath. I've realised that. I was raised in a very odd environment. The whole world told me that black people were dangerous and evil and incompetent. That's what everything told me. Then my parents went to work every single day and left me alone with one.
And how was that?
Well, I loved her, so I must be a psychopath. I thought she was my mom till I was 7.
Where is she now?
She lives at my parents' home in Durban.
Oh, good.
She's still with us.
All right.
So I think my material is about being honest about it because I'm raising a daughter.
Yeah.
She's 14 and I'm trying to understand what world she's going into. So I think we just got to be better people, more honest.
And of all the people in the world, do you think she thinks you're really funny, Dad? Are you a funny
Sometimes.
dad? Does she laugh at your jokes?
Sometimes I'm the disciplinarian. Then it's not ideal. And then sometimes I've got a 14-year-old who's my biggest critic. I'll say something, she'll go,
Nah.
Dad, if we're going to eat, you're going to have to think of better things to say.
Talking about eating, right?
Yes.
And the comedy industry, specifically in South Africa.
Yes.
Let's forget the Trevor Noah thing. Why do you think there's such a big boom in terms of local comedy? And why are people so hungry for South African content?
There's a
and
lot
South
of
African
new
comedians?
talent, and it's fantastic. There's a lot of flavours of new talent coming out. So in other words, it's not all about black comics talk about being black and white comics talk about being white and Indian comics talk about being... Like, everyone's mixing it all up. I just saw a young girl from the Muslim side of the world who talks about same-sex relationships. That was quite interesting.
Wow.
It's a whole new flavour.
Revelation.
You get kids who don't talk about their race at all. It's just incredible. So there's so much... I think there's a lot to celebrate in comedy. I don't think there's a lot to celebrate about being South African at the moment other than comedy.
Why? We're
Trevor's
great.
caused
We're
a big
amazing.
reason to celebrate South Africa. Like, that's a huge thing for the whole country. So I think people are excited about the new talent, and that's good. I think that's a great... There's a lot of new talent. It's exciting.
Okay. But another thing that people don't know about you is that you're a painter.
Right. Yes, I am. I do. This is not so hot. But I'm only joking. I thought that would... No. I do paint. I've sold some paintings, and it's something I started just to, like, stay calm, which I don't know if that works, but I started that, and then I became friends with a very famous painter in South Africa, and then he died. So if I can give you any advice, don't make a friend of someone who's 87.
Oh.
Don't start a friendship at 87.
Because they die.
They die, and it's just the thing, and then you lose your friend.
Okay.
So that's
So
not
we'll
good.
chuck this away and bring yours, and let's see
Please
if
do.
people at home like
I'm
it.
offended.
If they hate it, they're going to tweet me, and then we're going to remove it.
We'll have a war
Deal.
about painting. I love it. Another reason for us to fight.
Yeah, we
It's
love
fantastic.
it. A little bit later, we're going to be chatting about what you can expect from John and the rest of the team at the big Mass Hysteria Festival coming up. And don't forget, we are giving away that prize. But after the break, Danilo makes us a Sriracha sweet potato roast, and we chat to comedian Paul Pops. It's a laugh a minute right here on SABC3. You don't want to miss it. Don't move.
Five Roses blends only the top 2 leaves of the finest Ceylon teas. Because nobody makes better tea than you and Five Roses.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express South Africa. So in the kitchen today, myself and Claire are getting ready to make a Sriracha sweet potato roast, which to me sounds like a dish on its own, but apparently we're going to be pairing it with a little bit of chicken too.
So you really can't eat this as a dish by itself. If you want to have a sort of meat-free Monday, go for it. This is fabulous. It's so sweet and delicious and decadent and wholesome in a meal all by itself. Happy one-pot wonder.
Amazing.
But
Yes.
just because we've got a whole lot of meat eaters in the loft today, we're going to pair it with a stunning Woolworths Sriracha and caramelized caramel chicken. Yummy.
So I just want to go back to this. Who do you say are the meat eaters? I see the girls are going like, oh, me? Really? I'm sure.
Me?
Okay. Yeah, just for Claire. All right, so how do we get started?
Okay, so I'm going to make the sauce. You're going to help me. It's going to sound a little bit technical, but it's really sort of, you need to put a bit of wow into a dish if it's just
Okay,
going to have
so look
sweet
good
potato,
too.
really.
Okay.
So we've sliced up the sweet potato here, just peeled it, sliced it as thin as you can.
How do you peel this? Just with a normal potato
Normal
peeler?
potato
Okay.
peeler. Slice it up with a knife. If you have what we call a mandolin to help you slice it easier, that's fantastic. But if you don't, a knife will do.
Cool.
Then you're just going to take it. I'll show you sort of a little
Just give me a
example.
few examples, because I'm terrible at laying things out. I'm the type of guy, when you're cooking in the kitchen, who does the mush, tastes delicious, but never looks very good, so...
Well, honestly, you can make this almost like a potato bake. You can kind of layer it up as well. That'll be fine, but this just, it looks fabulous, really.
Cool, so you're going to be making like a little sack. That, I see what
So
you're
there-
doing, so this is going to go right around.
Okay.
Cool, I'll
So
carry on
leave
going
that.
with this.
If you can, the reason it's sitting there in water is just so it doesn't brown. If you can, sort of just shake off as much water as you can, because you don't want to end up with a whole pan of
Watery.
water and end up boiling the
I see.
sweet potato. So what I'm going to do here is make the glaze, effectively, for the sweet potatoes. It's a little bit of olive oil into a pan that we're just heating up. You want to sort of layer the olive oil first and then go into the butter, because you don't want the butter to burn. We're going to pop probably about 125 grams of butter there, and that's just going to melt. Let's just crank this heat up and get this to melt nicely. This is what we're going to do to kind of glaze over the sweet potato, help cook it a little bit, just add a little bit of liquid to the pan, add the sweetness, because that's the maple syrup that's going to go in there, and then just some real fabulous flavour. That's
So
buttery,
rich, but I
caramelized
think
butter flavour.
It was one of the rules that I was taught in the kitchen a long time ago, and my mom has this fight with us every single week when my dad and I are cooking in the kitchen. She'll always say to us, why don't you use olive oil instead of butter? It's much healthier. And he says, well, you can't get the flavour. If you want that flavour of that butter, you have to use it. So I know that some people are going to say, well, I'm going to like substitute it for something else. Don't. It's so full of flavour. It's rich, but don't have it every single night. I don't think
No,
it's great for you.
absolutely. It's a stunning flavour, and if you want to sort of enhance the flavours and build the flavours even more, you can sort of brown the butter, and you're going to get a really fabulous nuttiness to it.
Cool.
So then a little bit of maple syrup. You actually don't have to add all this butter. You can sort of add, if you want to, just a tablespoon or two with the maple syrup, and then just slightly glaze over the top. But I'm going crazy with this butter because I
Sweet
love it.
potato, by the way, if we're speaking about whole things and adding butter, sweet potatoes only really came into part of my diet, I suppose, in the last year and a half. And it's incredible. It's full. It's much more nutritional than having something like a normal potato with all of its starch and stuff. So
I mean, I'm not in any way a dietitian, so I'm not going to sort of claim to know
anything.
anything about
I don't
the sort
either.
of the ins and outs of it. But for me, it, like you say, it's wholesome. It tastes so fantastic that you can eat it as a meal by itself, and it's so versatile. It really is such a versatile ingredient. So
it's got that sweet, but it's got the starchy too, but it's filling, but it's also like vegetable-y. So I see you
Absolutely.
rushing me on here. 'Cause
no,
I'm
you're
taking
doing a good
forever.
job. You're doing a fabulous job. So we've just made the glaze here. I've added a lot of butter. You don't have to add as much butter. A little bit of sweetness, and we're just going to pour that over here.
Okay, I'll finish this. Leave that as it is. I'll finish this off just now. Don't forget, though, this recipe is on our website, afternoonexpress.co.za. If you're much faster than I am, this recipe will go by much quicker than we're doing it right here on the couch. So we're going to be joining Bonnie as we talk more about mass hysteria.
Raised in Soweto, he was first noticed when he auditioned for SABC 1's So You Think You're Funny at the age of 22, where he quickly made a name for himself, having shared the stage with some of South Africa's greats, including Trevor Noah, Mark Lottering, and now with John Vlismas in Mass Hysteria. He's easily one of the country's hottest young talents. Joining us on the couch is Paul Pops. Welcome, Paul.
Hey, how are
Lovely
you?
to have you in the loft.
Thanks for having me.
I feel like you're always on my TV screen, but one of my favorite ads that you're in is the one where you're very drunk and you're being driven home. And every time I watch it, I think to myself, this guy plays a very good drunk guy. He's been drunk a lot. Have you been drunk a lot in
I've
your
had
life?
my fair share of experiences, you know, and obviously you can't drink on set, you know what I mean? You can't,
Right.
you can't get... People always come up to me and say, I don't want to be honest, and you can't drink on... You can't,
No, you
like, you know what I
can't.
mean?
But you had a lot of inspiration to draw from.
Yes, you know what I mean? And we just took pieces. I was actually singing in the first takes, you know, because that's what you do when you're drinking. You start singing songs, you know?
Yeah.
I don't want to miss that. And then they're like, we're not going to get clearance on that song. So I ran out of songs to sing. Yeah.
Is there a difference between acting a funny guy and being a funny guy on stage? I'm sure the timing's different.
It's more or less the same. I'm a Gemini, you know, so there's always two people in my head. Do you know what I mean? So
always.
There's always two guys. There's always a guy. So that's why sometimes
John is very shocked at this. He's hearing this for the first time.
Yeah. I didn't even know that was an ad. I thought they just filmed him
being
driving
himself.
home. I didn't realise they were doing an ad. I didn't know
it was
that.
an awareness thing.
Was that the other guy? Was that you? Which of the two
was the other guy.
Right,
that was the other guy.
Fair
And then the other guy was the guy who does the voiceover after. That was me. And then
Now, you were 22 when you entered So You Think You're Funny,
Yes,
right?
yes, I was.
And you say you went into the competition with only 2 great jokes.
I only had 2 jokes.
Why? Why did you only have 2 jokes?
'Cause I'd
Are you
never
a less
done-
is more guy?
No, I'd never done stand-up comedy, and I'd only ever, like, you know, come up with my own 2 jokes. And I did those jokes at the audition, and the judges were loving them. And Dosh was like,
And they were
yeah,
like, give
carry
us
on.
more, give us more. And then?
I was like, I'm saving the rest for the show. So, like, I had like 7 days to, like, come up with more material, basically.
And then you were also in Strictly Come Dancing, and you made it
Yes,
through to the quarterfinals.
Yes.
Such hard
phenomenal.
work.
It was. Also, given the
You
fact
said
that...
8 hours a day?
8 hours a day. You know, I think second week, I started feeling like I had to roll out of bed because my partner was pushing me to... I mean, I didn't know you had muscles under your armpits.
Under your armpits.
Yeah, because she was like, activate this muscle. I'm like, what are you talking? She's like, just activate. And she was this tiny, but like, she wanted us to win. She was so competitive. It was hard because, like, most of the time I had to look down on her while we were dancing, and she was always like...
But you did really well. Well done.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, not really. I mean, you made it. You lost. I mean,
so
ultimately, you
lose.
say
For a
you did
guy who's
well.
never danced, I mean, he said he's never danced in his life before. He
That's
said
not
he
even
never
like,
danced
that's
in a
not the
club.
last 2. That's a quarter-final, dude.
It's an
She might
SMS
say you're a
competition.
finalist, you're a loser. What do you mean? That's a loser.
You're quoted as saying you have not lived the South African dream until you've been a call center agent. Tell us about your call center agent days.
You know, like, we face different struggles now. You know, back in the day, there was a whole Afrikaans thing. Now people have to go... The young kids have to go through the call center.
They have to?
You have to.
Okay.
It's a thing.
And you got trained.
I got trained. I went to this Cornerstone program.
I used to do voiceover ads, advertising
I
Cornerstone's
recognized you from somewhere.
call
man.
center courses.
I went there. It was
And you
like
went? Because I used to do those ads and think, who does this?
This guy. I was there. So they literally teach you how to answer phone and basically how to accept rejection, because that's what happens. Do you know what I mean? It's, every no is a step closer to a yes. So I have a certificate for every no is a
So
step
were you the
closer
guy
to
who
yes.
called people to tell them to pay their accounts?
To pay their
basically?
accounts. I used to call people on their cell phones to buy new cell phones.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
the brother, how's your Nokia? Listen,
Yeah.
BlackBerry is coming out with it. I used to be that guy, you know, selling products. I used to sell products. I used to
You did
process
it all,
insurance
basically.
claims.
Wow,
Hey,
wow,
hey.
wow. You've also openly joked about the perks of poverty.
Yes.
Tell us about some of those perks, because I
Well,
surely haven't come across any.
There are perks to poverty. You know what I mean?
What
like,
are they?
I know how many slices of bread there are in a loaf. You know that
Good info.
if you take 2-ply toilet paper, you can separate it and have longer uses.
Wow.
You know, you learn to appreciate electricity for the time it's around. So you do all the things you want to do within that space of time.
Right,
do you know what I mean?
right, yeah. So you
Yeah.
become a very productive person.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, we went to the same school. We went to Greenside High School, but I matriculated yonks before you, so you're literally a baby. But we look the same age.
Indirect self-compliment
Wow.
there. Wow.
Hey, we're working here, we're working.
Wow.
Tell me about your school days. I mean, you sound like you had a very interesting
I did, you know, because I was the first generation to go to Model C school, you know. We were the first, and our parents didn't prepare us. Hey, you're gonna go to the school with white kids and colored.
Yeah,
They just
yeah.
dropped us at the gate and like, bye.
And
Come
you had
back
to
and
fend
talk
for
English,
yourself.
okay, bye. And we had to like fend for ourselves. And I grew up with this like Model C lifestyle, and then all of a sudden, halfway through it, Mom was like, Yeah, no, we can't afford the Model C lifestyle. Then I had to go to
Had to go back.
the
Oh
ghetto.
my gosh,
Yeah.
that must have been an interesting experience.
It
But before we
was.
run out of time, I want to say congratulations. You star in a film called Tina Swabili. It's won
Yes.
many awards, but now it's nominated for an Oscar.
Yes.
Tell us
yes,
about
yes.
that experience.
Okay, so this is the first independent film to be selected to represent South Africa at the Oscars. You
Woo,
know,
that's amazing.
Literally, we made this movie on a shoestring budget.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't supposed to act in it, but because we were lacking in funds,
right.
I had to jump in. And yeah, to see the 4-year journey come to this point where we've been selected to represent SA at the Oscars it's an honor.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
All the
When I
best
heard
with
the news,
that.
I just ran through the streets of Greenside
Yeah.
screaming.
Wow.
So
He did. He was
apologies to
naked.
yeah.
It's terrible.
My pants were just down, John. I wasn't really naked. It's just,
But you're not going away. We're still going to chat about mass hysteria in a short bit.
and apparently I
okay?
have to cook as well. What's
Yeah,
caramelized
you have
sachet?
to. You'll see, you'll find out.
A churrasco.
Can't you make pilchards?
No. After the break, we take a look at how you can make a difference for special needs children, and we take a look at National Nutrition Week with some healthy work lunch ideas.
The #1 choice of skincare professionals worldwide.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express. Now, joining us is founder and chairman of Iris House Children's Hospice, South Africa's first and only hospice dedicated to children with life-limiting and life-threatening conditions. Sue van der Linde, as well as a family member who benefits directly from the services that Iris House offers, Sheila Belcher. Ladies, welcome to the loft.
Thank you.
Right, what is the difference between an adult hospice and a children's hospice?
Okay, it's a very good question. It's one we get asked quite a lot.
Yeah.
When people think of hospice, the first thing that springs to mind is end-of-life situations.
Right.
Children's hospice couldn't be further from that. It's the
Yeah.
complete opposite.
Yeah.
We call ourselves a living hospice. We're based on the same model which is followed in the UK and the USA.
Okay.
And basically our journey with a child is a lot longer and a lot more varied than adult hospice would be. We have the utmost respect for all the adult hospice, but a special needs children's hospice is a far longer, more involved journey. It involves the whole family, it's holistic care, involves siblings, and it involves anything to improve that child's quality of life on
Right,
that journey.
right.
So quite a bit of difference. And obviously being child-focused, we have to make sure their surroundings and our surroundings at hospice is child-focused as well.
Now, you also run a home-based care training program.
That's
What does
right.
that involve?
Basically what we've done is we looked around the Western Cape at home-based care as a first option to reach families. We have care teams within various areas, Mufuleni, Khayelitsha, Vredenburg, etc. Our training program establishes our carers as persons who are able to cope with a special needs child whilst the parent is not there. So everything from tracheostomies to gastrostomies to play therapy and little bits of massage and speech therapy. We don't claim to be experts in any of the fields, but my carers are exceptionally well trained in dealing with a child and their condition.
And they love what they do,
They
of course.
adore what they do.
Tell us about Kappa for Care. What is it and how did it start?
Okay, well, the lady to my right is really the source of Kappa for Care.
Okay.
Sheila started it a few years ago, raising funds for her own son, who is an Iris House child. And Sheila and I got together and we decided to give it a name, and the name came out, Kappa for Care. And 2 years ago, we ran it as a project. Sheila headed it up. It did amazingly well, and it's just sort of grown from there. And pretty much what it is anybody, anywhere, can host a Kappa for Care. It can be, if it's a bunch of guys, they can have boerewors rolls instead of tea and cake if they feel like it.
Or have it as a birthday party idea instead.
Exactly, yeah. And, you know, people can bring cake in, bring tea in, you can host it yourself, up to you. And then the funds raised from that, every hostess is registered, and they get a specific number from Iris House, and then those funds come back to us and we use them to continue our community and hospice-based service.
Sheila, how have you benefited from the services of Kappa for Care?
When you have a special needs child, to find a caregiver who knows what they're doing is extremely difficult.
I can imagine.
And we're very fortunate that I have a medical aid, so there's a very small portion on the medical aid where you can get some nursing care. And no disrespect to those carers, but they're not trained. So when they arrive, you basically need to take another day's leave to show them what to do with your special child.
Yes, yeah.
The Iris House ladies know, or ladies and gentlemen, know exactly what they're doing because they've been trained, because your child has been assessed properly and professionally before any carer gets anywhere near them. And then they look at the family as a whole, which is so important, because when you have a special needs child, it's not just the child that has special needs, it's the whole family.
It's the whole family.
It's the siblings who obviously have their issues with having a sibling with special needs, because, shame, they are sometimes ignored, or they're not getting the attention they deserve. Husbands and wives feel ignored because mummy's continuously busy feeding or changing bottoms
and
or doing something with the special needs
experiences
child.
that each person is having.
Yes, and I think what is absolutely wonderful to be on this show for me today is to tell people out there, because I wasn't always a special needs parent. I didn't know what it entails. And I'd like to tell the viewers, just look and just listen, because you could land up in that situation. God forbid you won't, but you could, like I did. And you'll suddenly think, wow, this whole world opens up that you didn't know of. And so, anyway, to get back to Couple for Care, I believe in divide and conquer. None of us can do anything all on our own. And so we say, right, I'm going to raise funds, I'm going to have a tea party. You're going to be my hostess, and you're going to be my hostess, and you're going to bring all your friends, and they're going to pay us some money, and we're going to give it all to Iris House. And anybody can do it, as you said, in any situation. You know your circumstances. Oftentimes we want to help people, but we don't have the funds, we don't have the means, and we think we can't do anything because we're living on the breadline ourselves. But you can, because you could ask your friends, if you're living in a very prominent area and you have a very high-paying job, you could sell tickets for 500 Rand if you wanted to. You have 10 friends around, or you could ask your friends to bring 20 Rand along. And it doesn't matter. You're doing what you can to help other people who need it.
Yeah, wonderful. Do you think as a whole in South Africa we're doing enough to support parents of special needs children?
No.
What more can be done?
Definitely
Or
not.
how can we get involved?
There needs to be more awareness of special needs children. There needs to be more support for moms like Sheila, for families like Sheila's. Iris House doesn't charge for our services whatsoever. All our services are free. And I believe we are the only MPOs doing that type of work for free. And it's an issue for special needs parents. They don't have the budget to pay for therapists, etc. We need to, as a country, acknowledge that these children are not just going to disappear, and that we need to do something to assist them.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having us.
Awesome. We're talking more nutrition with Bonang in the kitchen.
Thank you so much, Bonnie. For more information how you can help, make sure that you log on to our website, afternoonexpress.co.za. But the 16th of October is World Food Day, and Nutrition Week is the week preceding this, namely from the 9th to the 15th of October. The objective of National Nutrition Week 2015 is to create awareness and, of course, provide information to service providers about healthy eating in the workplace. Joining us to give us a little bit more insight is Woolworths dietitian Cindy Shin. Lovely to have you.
Thanks, Bonang.
Welcome to National Nutrition Week. See, I didn't even know this week existed. But before we get into it, why is it so important for everybody to eat healthy at work?
Yeah, I think the reason why they've chosen this theme is that, I don't know if you know the stats for obesity, but they're actually, in South Africa, they're quite shocking. 2/3 of women in South Africa are either overweight or obese. That's from a national health survey that was conducted in 2012. So who knows what's happened in the last 3 years. And men fare somewhat better at 30%, so that are actually overweight or obese. So the obesity stats are really troublesome, and that's why we're focusing so much on healthy eating in the workplace, considering that we spend more than half of our time, a lot of our time at work, having maybe most of our snacks and meals actually at work. So it is a concern.
But with that said, Cindy, then, what are some of the factors then that lead to unhealthy eating at the workplace?
I think, we talk about a toxic food environment, and I think it's like, it's a combination of things. So it's having an unhealthy vending machine. It's having fast food outlets close by to work that's convenient. It's having those muffins or those cupcakes at the birthday celebration or someone's baby shower at work. It just adds on. And then, because of our busy lifestyles, we often don't have enough time to plan ahead and actually bring food from home. So we'll end up going to maybe the canteen, which can actually not always be provide the best options.
Absolutely. So then what tips then would you have for either, employees or people that don't have another option? They only have the canteen or the vending machine. What kind of tips would you give them around that?
So I think as workers, we should probably motivate for healthier options in the first place. So if the vending machine only offers the chips and the chocolates and the sweets, then ask for other options, even if it is maybe a bran muffin as opposed to a cupcake. Better options like that. But in the canteen, for instance, you could ask for a salad bar. Where it's just like lettuce, cucumber, tomato, and then at least you can mix and match and make up a salad, and then at least take the chicken, the roast chicken that's on offer, but then like take off the skin or ask for less instead of the fatty chips. Ask for something else like the salad or the rice option.
Okay, all right. But then, eating healthy is one thing then. How do you keep active in the workplace, around the workplace, before you get... Because eating is one thing, but you need to balance it with a little bit of activity.
So that's a very good point, and I see it so often in the workplace. That people would rather take the lift to get up one floor rather than take the stairs.
I'm like, no stairs for me.
But, well, in those hills, I don't know. Take hills. But what you could do is at least, if you, say you work on the 6th floor, don't try to be a hero and do the full flight. Just do maybe 2 flights and then take the lift the rest of the way.
Fantastic.
And you'll find that, for everyone, just to add a little bit of activity into the day actually helps just to get your heart rate up, get you stretching a bit, and I think that just promotes a healthier lifestyle. And then encourage your colleagues as well. So if you all go to the lifts, of course, it's going to be harder to say, well, I'm going to take the stairs. But if you all promote a healthier workspace, then I think that goes a long way.
The one thing I love about Woolies, obviously, it's got all these pre-packaged meals, which is absolutely fantastic, makes our lives much easier. But let's talk about portions and how much I should be eating, what I should be eating, when I should be eating.
Yeah, it's a tricky one because, depending on your activity levels, your age, whether you're male, female, that all differs. But I think a good guide is just to look at a plate model and to say at least half of my plate should be comprised of fresh vegetables.
Okay.
Because often
what
what
do you
we
have
do...
here? Carrots?
So I've got baby carrots and sugar snap peas.
Yeah.
They come in very conveniently portioned packages that you can just pop into Woolies and get. And you can snack on it and use it as to dip in the hummus. Or you can actually combine it to make up some sort of a salad. So what I've brought is, say, a basic salad here with just some leaves and grated carrots, etc. And then if you want to add a bit of your proteins in it, you can mix and match that.
So maybe some chicken.
Yeah, some chicken fillets, or put it... This is so convenient, these tuna pouches, because you can just leave some at your desk. You don't have to refrigerate them.
Oh, really?
Squeeze them into your salad base. Say you keep some lentils in the office, put that in a bowl, put some fresh veggies or some salad leaves into that. Squeeze in your tuna and then throw some nuts over. So it's a bit of balance. So you see, what I'm doing is I'm putting a bit of starch in, say lentils or bread here.
Yeah.
Lots of veggies in whatever form.
Okay.
Then your protein and then some healthy fats.
But Cindy, you don't have them here, but beverages, coffee, water, soda.
It quickly adds up. And I think, we often don't think of it. People survive on coffee in the office, so 6 cups a day.
We have to, or else we're going to go crazy.
But I've
what
seen
do we do
some
then?
colleagues take well, what you could do is just at least cut down on the sugar. So I've seen colleagues take a couple of sachets, well, actually more than a couple, like 4 or 5, and they just tear off the top and pour it in. And I think after the 6th cup, you've had a ton of sugar. So even if you just start to reduce that, you don't have to cut it out completely. Just gradually reduce from 4 teaspoons to 3 teaspoons, etc., till you're down to very little, because it does add up. And then, of course, what's wrong with water? Water's great. You can put in a slice of lemon, cucumber, some strawberries, and fresh mint. Put that in, and it's not quite as boring anymore.
Yeah.
So,
and the thing that I love about eating right at the workplace, you become a little bit more productive. You don't have that after 1 o'clock slump. After you've eaten, I want to do sleep.
Definitely.
Right? Isn't that one of the benefits of eating right?
One of the studies that were done actually on looking at work productivity is that they found that people that eat less healthy have a 66% lower productivity rate. So can you imagine after that heavy lunch, everyone's just sort of warming the seat. They're not actually productive.
Got you.
So
we need to be careful what we put in the mouth, right?
Definitely.
When we're at work. Well, Cindy, thank you very much. Always so informative. After the break, we're going to be back on the couch with John Vlismas and in Pop Pops. And remember, we're giving away those tickets to the show as well, so make sure you don't go anywhere. For all this incredible information, courtesy of our Woolworths dietitian, Cindy, log on to afternoonexpress.co.za. A laugh a minute after the break, right here on SABC3.
Clicks, Feel good, pay less.
Welcome back. You're still watching Afternoon Express right here on SABC3. Now, Mass Hysteria is a satirical comedy show where South Africa's best comedians, including John Vlismas and Paul Pops, Sriracha and Mark Lottering, have joined forces to form a parliament of comedy. Brought back onto the stage due to popular demand, the show is currently running at the Artscape right in Cape Town until the 25th of October. Joining us back on the couch to talk more about the show is John and, of course, Paul Pops.
Guys, you are both ministers. You're a minister of entertainment and gratuitous adverts.
Yes.
And John, you are minister of non-communicable diseases.
That's correct,
Tell us about your portfolios.
Well, my
What they
portfolio
entail.
really is just to give diseases that haven't had enough publicity a chance. You know, HIV gets all the budgets, it gets all the publicity. Ebola had a massive tour of Africa earlier this year. You know, flu. Where's flu? Where's hepatitis F?
Where's pink eye?
Pink eye, thank you.
Yeah.
You see, these
Yeah.
are all
Yeah,
the
I
little
hear you.
guys that never get a chance.
Yeah.
So with my help, I'm hoping that we'll get a small disease that will have a massive outbreak somewhere and finally, like its big debut. This is what I'm hoping for.
And yourself, gratuitous adverts?
I'm the Minister of Gratuitous.
We went over this.
Adverts and television.
Yes.
So for me, it's talking about ads and like the ads that work, that don't work. Like one of the things we picked up was pad ads aren't honest. You know, most people in pad ads are happy.
They're
you know,
not.
doing stuff. You know, they have dancing in pad ads. I mean, if there's ever time, you shouldn't be dancing.
You shouldn't be dancing.
You know what I mean?
What is that?
What does that mean? What does that even mean?
Yeah, what's going on, guys? What are you saying?
You know what I mean?
You want us
A flash
miserable.
mob.
For half of the
It's
year,
not that
you want us to be
miserable.
miserable.
We're just saying
Basically.
it's not honest. You know, people are playing tennis, they're happy. Now with more added wins, no.
Wow.
People don't even play tennis normally, suddenly
Yes.
play tennis.
Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
There's superpowers involved.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm floored.
I mean, this for me is crazy. So how did this idea come about? First up, it's one thing to have this incredible, you know, show put together, but
Yes.
where did the idea come from?
Well,
Who
because we
sparked it?
watch Parliament TV and we realised we are in the hands of comedians. Why don't we just get honest comedians? Like, that's on our job description.
Yes.
Rather than saying we are like these, you know, overpaid people of decision-making, let the
Right.
country be run by real comedians and let's see if maybe it's an improvement.
With real
Yeah,
qualifications.
So let's say a comedian had to run the country.
What do you mean, what if?
Okay, let's say you are running the country. Who do you think should be our president? No, just comedians.
Yeah, you probably want to go with like an Import Pops, probably.
Yes.
I would say
Yes.
maybe
Yeah.
a union between like Import Pops and let's say a Mark Lottering, someone who can handle the Cape area.
Yes,
You know, for
yes.
everyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think you don't have to have one person. I think that's part of the problem.
And what are some of your objectives this year at Mass Hysteria? Obviously, Mass Hysteria, that being one of
Right,
them.
we want to
right,
create
yeah.
some hysteria.
Yeah, yeah.
I think we'd like to employ the audience a little bit.
Okay.
You know, get them to be professional laughers.
Yes.
We'd like their money. We'd very much like their money because a lot of our children go to private schools.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
we will need that from them, obviously.
Yes.
And our objectives really are to bank as much of that money as we
As
can.
I
possible.
love that.
You know, but it's up front. We tell you up front what it's going to cost, and we put an absolute ceiling on what it's going to cost you as the public.
And there's a guarantee.
You know, we don't
If
say that there's in Nkandla now, there's a whole other part of the thing, there's a village now that needs
Yeah.
a mall on top of the fire pool. We've already kept it, like that's it. If you want to buy a drink at half time, it's not a fire drink, it's just a bottle of
drink.
water, and then you
What
enjoy
other
yourself.
ministers will be showcasing their portfolios at Mass
You
Hysteria?
know, Chester Missing is bringing a white guy with him, which I
boy.
think is quite nice for a coloured guy
Yes.
to employ a
Yes,
white guy.
yes, yes.
Okay.
He's the Shadow Minister of Puppets.
All right, there he is.
Which is quite nice.
And Mark Lottering is the Minister of the Cape.
Cape.
Which is colours are people exe.
Yeah.
Cape. Yeah. So
Okay.
he's
Who knew?
Who knew?
Yeah.
Alan Committee is the Minister of Upsizing, Downscaling, Insourcing and
outsourced, outbound going sources.
going.
Yeah.
So that's a big job.
You don't know what's going on.
And to me,
here.
Well, it's Parliament.
Well, we try to keep it as much like Parliament as
Yeah, I
possible.
walked right into that one.
and to me, lastly,
Minister of Ben 10s.
I love that.
We feel that Ben 10s are great, but they need direction.
Yes.
You got to handle those children. You know, they got stamina, but like, do they have any direction? This is the problem.
Wonderful. If you live in Cape Town and would like to catch Mass Hysteria at the Artscape, we're giving away 5 sets of double tickets to the show. All you have to do is SMS the keyword Express, your name and city to 33728, and you could be one of our lucky winners. SMS costs R1.50, T's and C's apply, and are available on our website, afternoonexpress.co.za. Let's head back to the kitchen and see what Dina is up to.
You guys are having so much fun. We're about to have a lot more fun here. And we've been mentioning this whole idea of making a Sriracha sweet potato roast. And you're probably wondering, where does the Sriracha come in? Because all we've done really is just laid a whole bunch of sweet potato around a pan and poured some buttery yumminess all over it. So what have you kind of done here in the meantime?
So we've roasted the sweet potatoes. They went into the oven. Our chicken is busy roasting, so that caramel and Sriracha chicken in the oven. Now we're gonna, like you said, make the Sriracha sauce. So we're gonna pour this over the top of it, and you're gonna serve it on the side.
Ooh.
Really delicious.
It's kind of like bit to dip, bit to kind of get soaked in.
At the moment at Woolworths, everything is about flavors from around the world. So Sriracha is one of those beautiful, garlicky, chili, sweet, a little bit sweet, hot sauces from Thailand, and we're obsessed with it.
Whoever found Sriracha and whoever made this recipe is a legend, because you've just changed the entire world, and we love it so, so, so much. So very well done to the guy who found this and decided to make his own recipe of it, because it's so cool. Because it's
so
not
delicious.
that burny. It's not like something that's really, really burny. It's got a lot of flavor and it's garlicky. It's
this
full.
is exactly it. It appeals to so many people because it's so flavorful. It's not when you just, you know, the whole sort of argument about hot sauces is that you eat it and then you just lose all flavor.
Yes, you just have a
gone.
numb
Palate
mouth.
is overrided, hands down, like timeouts.
Yeah.
Can't eat the rest of your meal.
Sweats out happening, you're sniffling all over the place. What are you adding in here? Wait, you're just like kind of steaming your head.
I know, I'm just so excited about the sauce. No, okay, so what we're doing is we've just added a little bit of the creme fraiche and then some coconut milk.
Okay.
Beautiful complement
Also,
to Thai
again,
food. So it works fantastically with the Sriracha. And we're just gonna, the reason we're sort of heating up it, just to warm it through, because our potatoes are hot. You don't want to put a cold sauce over it.
And I will say, though, that coconut milk is one of those ingredients that you don't have to feel like tastes so much like coconut. Because I know when you cook it in with a lot of curry sauces or something like a Sriracha, or you add like a massaman curry to it or whatever, it really does like minimize that sort of really coconutty flavor. So I like it a lot. It's not like very intense.
So for me, I could drink it, love it, absolutely love that. It's not as strong, like you say, as a coconut eating
but it's
coconut.
not cream either, which rocks.
Yeah, but when you're adding your curry paste and your chilies and whatnot to it, it does sort of neutralize it, the flavor a little bit. But for me, I add coconut because I love the flavor. Love it, absolutely love it. And it adds a creaminess, but doesn't have that heaviness to it.
Yes, exactly. That's what it says, not cream, which rocks so much.
And complements the Thai flavors so beautifully, so incredibly well. So you can see.
Srirachaing for you.
Yes, you are. So the creme fraiche is just melted down a little bit. We're warming the sauce up a bit, and you're going to go for the Sriracha.
Can I go for now?
Yes, please.
Oh, cool. So how much are we going to be putting in?
So just to sort of flavor it. So you're looking for really, I would recommend to taste.
Okay.
So taste as you go, but I'm confident that
You know what you're talking. You've done this before so many times, so you'll know.
Yeah, stop.
Okay.
I actually got a bit distracted there, and you probably should have stopped a little bit.
No, never stop. Never enough Sriracha. I said this last time. Every time we cook with Sriracha, I always say never enough. The older chefs are like, oh, one teaspoon. I'm like, no, you can put just a little bit more. Just a tad bit more. Why not?
So that's nicely mixed up. You can smell that's just beautiful Sriracha flavor.
It's amazing, yeah. And now we're going to pour, you said a bit on top and a bit on the side. Does the creme fraiche solidify a little bit once it's cooled down?
I think, no, it won't. It'll stay a beautiful sauce. So we're going to pour a little bit over here. So this is, you can if you want to. I would actually pop this back in the oven just to sort of warm this up a little bit again.
Bake it in there a little bit.
Just to sort of, you know, bring it all together. Or just serve it as you're going to the table. So it's hot, hot, hot. As you're going to the table, pour this over at the table. You can finish it up with a little bit more on the side.
What do you do with the side? Or just put more on their own plates or whatever?
Absolutely. You know, if you want a little bit more saucy, a little bit more hot, you can add a little bit extra to that.
Yeah.
And it looks kind of cool.
So one thing we forgot to mention, by the way, and if you want all of the stuff that's on our website, afternoonexpress.co.za, it's really cool. The recipes, shopping lists and times, etc. are there. But we didn't mention how long this went into the oven for, at what temperature.
Okay, so depending on how thick you're actually going to get your sweet potato and how thin you're going to get it, I should say, rather, it's going to sort of vary the time. This one, at this thickness, roughly about 2 to 3 millimeters, about 40 to 45 minutes.
Okay, at what temperature? Like
180.
80. Baking, grilling?
Baking.
Baking.
Roasting.
Cool.
So let's say 45 minutes to about an hour, depending on the thickness. Just watch it. Just watch till it gets nice and golden.
Okay,
And then you're
amazing.
fine.
So you guys obviously find all of this, like I said, on our website, afternoonexpress.co.za. It's very simple. It's one of those dishes you want to really get hands on and know what it looks like when it comes out. So if you're seeing this nice golden brown on the outside, most likely be cooked on the inside, hopefully. Because if it's not, don't blame me or Claire.
Well, if your oven's too hot, careful.
Yeah, exactly.
If you've cranked up your oven and it gets really, really dark, then we might be in trouble. So
exactly. So
just feel it.
we're going to take a short commercial break. When we come back, we're taking all of your comments and questions for our hilarious comedians in the loft. So get tweeting us, Facebooking us, calling us, do what you need to do. See you after this.
Get 15% off with W Rewards when you pay with your Woolies card. Get the card, get the rewards.
Salati, always good, always sweet.
Serving things?
Serving things.
Somebody to serve the potato with?
Don't cut the chicken.
Just spread them out. Take a chair away. Cool.
Just take the chicken will kill you. 1 second.
Oh.
No, don't serve the sweet potato on the chicken.
What? Talk to me now. I'm listening to you.
Okay. But now how can I serve?
Yo, for my medicine. Okay.
No time to cook the chicken.
Ready, she. Where's the knife to cut that thing?
No, we're not cutting the chicken.
What a... Why?
Yes.
Yeah, why can't we have the chicken?
Why didn't you small?
I don't even know what we're doing.
Don't say language.
What are we doing?
Yeah, perfect. Thanks.
Here we are, perfectly natural dinner.
Yes, nothing of this is contrived.
Welcome back. The food looks great. I'm gonna say that. Welcome back. The food looks great.
I was wondering why it took us like 2 segments.
Grace?
We don't pray in the loft.
Really? Don't you? Godless. People are godless.
Godless.
So, do you do traditional prayers? Do you think that?
Salati Plantation Select adds subtle sweetness to toffees, caramel, bran muffins, or sprinkled into a spicy curry. Salati, always good, always sweet.
All right, welcome back. The food looks great. Before we eat and we tuck in, we need to ask our guests before they leave one last time. Why do we need to see mass hysteria, John?
Because if you don't, we'll find out where your children go to school. And we'll
Amazing.
deal with them accordingly. No, I'm only joking. It's a very funny comedy show, and everyone needs to laugh because this country's getting a little too serious.
Got you.
Right, and we're about to eat your cooking, so now we better do something hilarious.
How about I dish?
You
do
dish.
that, but the report tells us why we need to be there.
You can dish the food. Very good.
Paul, why do we need to be at the show?
Well, number one, John will be there. I'll be there. It's a brilliant show. It's a different concept. It's comedy the way you haven't seen it before. It's packaged differently. It's what Parliament should be, basically.
Funny, which already is, but hysterical.
Yeah.
Okay.
And honest.
Professional.
Honest. You're very honest.
All right.
You guys have been running for a few years. Mass Hysteria has actually done very well over the years. What's so different about this year?
It's all new material.
We hope so.
New things have happened in our country, and so we've all written new jokes.
I have a
New
new
comedians?
I've actually invented 2 new swear words that no one's ever heard before, which I'm premiering at the show.
Can't wait.
I'm very excited. I'm excited about that.
Now remember, if you live in Cape Town and want to see mass hysteria at the Arscape, then pick up your phone now and SMS the keyword Express, your name and city to 33728 to win one of those 5 sets of double tickets. SMS costs R1.50 and T's and C's apply, and available on our website afternoonexpress.co.za.
Well, thank you to our guests. Can't wait to tuck in. Claire, thank you very much for this food.
Yeah,
so
it's not too
fabulous.
spicy.
Yeah, we're going to enjoy this. This is going to be
amazing.
You
fantastic.
better taste these potatoes. I said, like, everyone's going to be...
like that.
It's a sweet potato.
Excited.
All right.
Where's yours? How did you miss
While
out
Danilo
yours?
does that tomorrow, you need to join us again for Afternoon Express. In the first 15 minutes of the show, we chat to SABC News anchor Leanne Marnes. And in the kitchen, we're making sloppy joes. You don't know what those, and make sure that you're there tomorrow, all right? At 4 o'clock on SABC3. Thank you very much, Danilo. Bonnie, thank you. John
guys.
and
Absolutely.
Pops, thank you for coming through.
Thank you,
And
guys.
to everybody that's watching, thank you very, very much. Remember, it's National Nutrition Week, so make sure if you're preparing your lunch tomorrow, make sure that it's healthy and make sure that you do the right thing.
Yeah,
right?
you have one more chance
You do.
every day.
Fantastic. From all of us right here at Afternoon Express, have a wonderful afternoon. It's good evening and happy eating.
Thanks
Mwah.
for joining. Happy eating.
Coming up tomorrow on Afternoon Express, Monde Sitole, a young adventurer and entrepreneur from Khayelitsha, inspires us with his story. And SABC News anchor Leanne Marnes joins us in the loft.
Another feel-good production.